Okay, so there is one metal that has been on an absolute tear, just blasting past all expectations and basically heading for the stratosphere. Yep, we're talking about silver, which just hit a stunning new record. So let's dive in and break down exactly what's fueling this incredible surge.
Just take a look at this number, $69.98. That is the all-time high spot price for an ounce of silver, and it was hit just recently. I mean, it is pushing right up against that huge psychological barrier of 70 bucks. This is not just some minor daily fluctuation, you guys. This is a major market event. And trust me, it has everyone's attention.
So, what in the world is actually fueling this incredible run? Well, it really all comes down to this one core idea. Silver is part safe haven, part industrial powerhouse, and part momentum stampede. See, it's not just one of those things, it's the powerful combination of all three happening at the exact same time. And that's what we're going to unpack. All right, to understand how we got here, we've got to start with the immediate spark. The thing that actually lit the fuse. These are the short-term catalysts, the triggers that caused today's price explosion and are grabbing all the headlines. A really good way to think about today's rally is, well, like a potent cocktail. It's a mix of a few classic ingredients that, when you put them together, almost always get precious metals moving. So let's take a look at the recipe. First up, ingredient number 1, geopolitical tension. There are reports of a U.S. blockade related to Venezuela, and whenever that kind of uncertainty pops up, investors look for safety. And silver? It's a classic safe haven asset. Next, you have big bets on the Fed. The market is getting more and more convinced that the U.S. Federal Reserve is going to cut interest rates, and that makes holding silver a lot more attractive. And finally, timing is just everything. It's the holidays, so trading is thin. With fewer people in the market, any move gets amplified, which makes these price swings much, much sharper. And this brings us to a really key concept called opportunity cost. Now, it might sound complicated, but it's pretty simple. Think of it like this. When interest rates are high, holding silver, which pays you exactly nothing, means you're missing out on easy money from a savings account. But when the market thinks rates are about to fall, that missed opportunity gets a whole lot smaller, doesn't it? And suddenly, holding a real, physical asset like silver starts to look like a much smarter move. But here's the thing. Today's headlines are really just the spark. The reality is that this spark landed on a massive bonfire that's been building for the entire year. So let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture that created this inferno. And wow, what a year it has been. As of late December, silver is up over 141% since the start of the year. I mean, that is just incredible. This is no flash in the pan. This is a sustained, powerful rally, and it's being driven by some very deep market forces. The sources call this a perfect storm for a reason. First, there's a structural deficit. We are simply using more silver than we are mining. At the same time, industrial demand is absolutely booming. We're not just talking about green energy like solar and EVs anymore. Now we have the construction of new AI data centers, which is a huge new source of demand. Then you layer on top of that massive investment inflows and momentum traders just chasing the trend, and you've got all the ingredients for a massive rally. And this is not just a U.S. story, this is a totally global phenomenon. While the U.S. price is getting close to $70 an ounce, futures in a huge consumer market like India have also been smashing records, hitting over 216,000 rupees per kilogram. The demand is worldwide. Okay, to truly understand what makes silver so unique, you have to grasp its dual identity. It has this kind of split personality, and that is the secret to its explosive potential. Let's break that down. So, on one hand, silver acts a lot like gold. When fear rises because of geopolitics or currency worries, investors flock to it as a safe haven. But on the other hand, it acts like an industrial metal, kind of like copper. When the economy's growing and we're building more technology, demand for silver as a critical input just skyrockets. So it actually benefits from both fear and greed. Now, this dual identity is silver's superpower, but it's also the source of its legendary volatility. You see, the silver market is a much smaller pool than the gold market. So when all this demand, from both investors and industry, comes rushing into that little pool at the same time, it creates huge waves. The price moves are dramatic, both on the way up and potentially on the way down. So with prices at these record highs, the big question is pretty simple. What happens next? For traders, all eyes are on one key piece of data that's right on the horizon. Everyone is waiting for the upcoming U.S. GDP figures. Right now, the market is expecting growth of around 3.2%.
If that number comes in much higher or lower, it could directly influence the Fed's plans for those rate cuts we talked about, and that's a key ingredient that's fueling silver's rally right now. And so we're left with the ultimate question. We've seen the short-term spark, the year-long bonfire, and the unique dual identity that makes silver so reactive. But is this push towards $70 a new foundation for the metal, or is it the peak of a temporary frenzy? For now, the market holds its breath. Thanks for tuning in.